Welcome to another episode of Countdown to Retirement. This is going to be spliced together, this video. Instead of letting everything build up for the end of the month, I'll just make little mini videos and then put them all together at the end. So today is September 11th, 2016. It's actually almost 2 in the morning, and my family is asleep, and here I am doing a video. So these books were purchased on Saturday, September 10th, and for those who haven't seen any of my videos before, basically this is kind of a monthly journal that I do as I count down to retirement in June 2019. I show what books I purchased for the month, and also tell about the movies and books that I read each month, kind of how I entertain myself, and I love collecting books. So let's get into it. We'll start here. Dashiell Hammett, The Continental Op. And by the way, I put all of the books in the bags. They usually never come that way. And here's another Continental Op, but this is actually different. Not just the cover, but it's different stories. This one's more stories from the big knockover. And I bought 2 of them. They were in pretty good shape, so I figured I'd just get them both. Yeah, let's see here. Okay. The Instant Enemy, Ross MacDonald. This is a Lou Archer detective novel. Lou Archer is a character invented by Ross MacDonald, who also goes by the name of John MacDonald. And the character was in a couple of movies with Paul Newman playing Lou Archer, except he changed the name to, was it Hooper or Hopper? I think it's Hooper. He didn't want to use the name Lou Archer, so he changed the name. And the movies were, I saw one of them so far. There were 2 of them. I have both of them, but only watched one so far. It was pretty good, so I figured as I see these novels, I'll buy them. And there was a whole series of them, and I have most of them now. So this one I don't already have, so it was a nice find. The Instant Enemy. Okay, next. Ross MacDonald, The Ivory Grin. I have this book, but I like the cover. Pretty cool cover. It's different than the one I have, so I figured I'd get it. And The Underground Man, again, Lou Archer, by Ross MacDonald. And this I have in hardcover, but I thought seeing the paperback would be good to have that, because all my other ones are in paperback for that series. Now this here, before I get to it, was a really good find. So this is a great cover by Robert or Bob McGinnis. The name of the book is Never Kill a Client by Brett Halliday, and that woman on the cover is very sexy and seductive and sultry and alluring and wah wah wah, as they say. Did I just quote Chachi? That's really bad, because Scott Baio was a moron. But you know what I mean. She's hot. And this is a Mike Shane mystery. I have not read any of them yet, but they just look kind of interesting to me. A lot of them have good reviews online. And this cost me less than $1, this book. I don't know the exact price because I bought in this one store, paperback store, I bought 12 books, and it cost me about $9.80, something like that. So each book was actually under $1, which is kind of amazing. We went to 5 bookstores in New Jersey today, and it was an all day. Took most of the day, and I bought books in 4 of them, 4 stores. So that was one of them. Here's another Mike Shane novel, Call for Michael Shane. Again, you could tell that the artist is Bob McGinnis, also known as Robert McGinnis. And here we have another one, She Woke to Darkness. It's another Mike Shane mystery, except that cover does not look like it's by McGinnis. Same for this one, Murder and the Wanton Bride, Mike Shane again. And let's see, the last of the mystery section that I picked up today is this here, Chandler, a visual novel by Steranko, introduction by Joe Gores. And this is kind of interesting. It's sort of like almost the size of a paperback, but it's not a paperback novel. It's like a little mini comic book. And it just looked interesting. It was in nice shape, so I put it in this bag. And it's like, I'm not really into comics, but this looked really interesting, so kind of unique and different. Okay, next. Last month or the month before, I watched a movie called The Young Philadelphians, and I saw this book today. It's called The Philadelphian. I saw it from the side. I was kind of curious what that was, so I pulled it off the shelf. I saw it says The Young Philadelphians also, so apparently they used this book for the movie, and they changed the name, and they wanted people to know that, so they put them both on the cover. And this is by Richard Powell, and there's some pictures of Paul Newman on the back. This book's a little bit old, and you have to be delicate with it, but it might be a good story. I'll see. Maybe I'll get to read it. Okay, now let's see here. Oh, let me do these first. Now this book here, The Rifleman, in paperback, I have this copy already, and I have it in hardcover, but it was only $1.50, and it's supposed to be a good book, and I'm hoping that it is. And so I figured, I saw it and for that price and in this shape, I figured I'd get it, $1.50. Not a bad deal. This is a reading copy only of Scarlet Plume. I have a really nice copy, old vintage one. So I saw this, and it cost me less than $1. Scarlet Plume by Frederick Manfred. Where'd that come from? And then two more by him, actually the same book but different covers. King of Spades. They both were really cool covers, as you can see. So I couldn't turn them away. They were inexpensive. He did a series, I think it was 5 books, Frederick Manfred. And on the westerns, and these are 2 of them, or I should say, yeah, King of Spades and Scarlet Plume. Okay, Honda. This one I have already by Louis L'Amour, but the cover's really cool, and it was very cheap, so I got it. It's nice to just put out as art, on your bookcase. So I bought it mostly for that, because I already have a few of them. And this, I really needed another copy of the Oregon Trail, but what's unique about this is it's paperback size, but it's got a hardcover on it, and I think I paid 50 cents for it, and it's in really nice shape. Okay, and now let's move over here. Isaac Asimov, The Winds of Change and Other Stories. So I like, having short story books. And Isaac Asimov, I like him, so this was a no-brainer. It looks like it's not even been read. And this was in the store that I paid less than $10 for 12 books, so it was less than $1. And this book I have already, but I bought it because I could use it as a reading copy. My other copy I think was in better shape. Oh, this isn't bad. Oh, my voice is going. But this copy is in overall good shape, just a few blemishes at the top, but other than that it's fine. But it was cheap, I figured, hey, a reading copy, I like that. Okay, next on the agenda. Now these are all C.J. Cherryh hardcovers. They were $3 each. Brothers of Earth. They were all in like new condition also. They're like practically untouched, it looks like. Merchant is Luck. Hunter of Worlds. Voyager and Night. Oh, and there's the cover. And the last one, Port Eternity. So I'll just show those again. And they were all $3 in excellent condition. And if you're a fan of C.J. Cherryh, you'll know that was a pretty good find. Now I'm going to pause for a moment while I get the next set of books ready. And we're back from that commercial break. Okay, now this was I'm going to show 3 books here all at one time. Okay, I've got Custer Legends by Larry Frost or Lawrence Frost, with Custer in 74, James Calhoun's Diary of the Black Hills Expedition, and My Life on the Plains by George Armstrong Custer. These books were $2 each. They're in excellent condition. They are ex-library books, but looks like nobody ever really bothered with them. I was in a store in New Jersey, and I was looking at some Time Life books, the Old West series of Time Life books. They were on like a bottom shelf near the floor, and they were in a crate. The crate was like standing, and on top of the crate, which I couldn't see from the angle I was standing, had some books on top of it. And when I bent down to pull out one of the Time Life books, I saw these books sitting on top of the crate, but they were like out of sight the way that they were on top of the crate. Couldn't see them, and all of a sudden I look, I'm like, oh my god, what is that? And these are pretty good finds. I mean, with Custer in 74, this can go for big bucks on the internet. And this is in great shape. Calhoun's Diary. And this one, it's pretty good finds for $2 each. Can't really complain. So, and even though I have all of these books, those 3, for $6 you buy them again if you're a book fanatic like I am. Okay, next, A Trail of Memories, the quotations of Louis L'Amour. This is in excellent shape. By the way, I put all of these clear covers on the book jackets to keep them nice. So that's his daughter, and she compiled and edited this book. Her name is Angelique L'Amour, and it's basically just all quotes from L'Amour's different novels. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. Next, this is more like a young person's book on Indians, but it's got a lot of nice art in it. Some of it was pictures I haven't seen elsewhere. There was a painting of the wagon box fight in here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. It was a painting of the wagon box fight that I've never seen before. Oh, here we go. Oh, I found it. So I thought that was kind of cool. I think it was $2. And it's fun to have. I like that kind of stuff. So let's see what's next. Now this was a really good find. This is like brand new, this book. Western Masterpieces of Western American Art by J. Gray Sweeney. And it just got a lot of nice art in here. Oop. It's hard to see. Lots of text. Remington paintings. So this looked like it was like brand new. I think it was $2. Excellent. And last, Frederick Remington by Sophia Craze. Mostly it's pictures. There's a little bit of text, especially at the beginning. But mostly it's just art. And at the beginning there's some pages with text. And that was, I'm not sure if it was $1 or $2, but whatever, it was a great steal, great buy. And it was like pretty much brand new. Very gently used anyway. So that's it for the first installment. Let's just move around here real quick. The book room. Boxes of books. Boxes of books. A I'm being overrun by books. What am I going to do? Can't stop. So until next time, bye-bye. I picked up 3 books on Saturday, September 17th, 2016. The 3 books are Black Robe by Brian Moore. This was also a 1991 movie. It's about a Jesuit priest among Native Americans in the eastern part of the United States, up near Canada, upstate New York probably. Haven't read the book yet. It's probably a little bit different than the movie. As an atheist, I find this topic a little bit interesting, also disgusting in a way, pushing Christianity and Catholicism upon the Native Americans. I think that was very wrong, but hopefully it's an interesting book. Next book is The Collected Short Stories of Louis L'Amour, The Frontier Stories, Volume 2. I recently picked up volumes 1, 3, and 5, so I found 2. And I know there's a few more in this series, but not all of them deal with the West, so I'm not sure I'm going to get all of them. But right now I'm still looking for a few. And last, I picked up George Caleb Bingham, and this is the one. There's a few books about him. This is includes an article by Michael Edward Shapiro, Paul Nagel, Barbara Grosclose, and a couple of others. And this looks like a pretty interesting book. He doesn't do too much on Native Americans, which is my primary interest, but he does have a few paintings with them. So it's a mix of narrative and images. So it's pretty cool. So those are my 3 purchases from yesterday, and I'll be back next time with more. Bye-bye. So what I've decided to do is to make videos throughout the month rather than one big video at the end of the month. And I'll just splice them together. It's easier for me to do it this way because otherwise the books I purchased that I'm showing, they just pile up and I can't put them away until I make the video. So I'm going to just do it this way, little videos, and then put them together at the end of the month. So these are books I'm going to show now that I purchased yesterday, September 24th, Saturday. We went to 2 used bookstores upstate New York. Technically, I mean, they're used bookstores, but they're really connected to libraries. So the money goes to the library when you buy the books, and I guess they're donations because these actually aren't library books. There's no library markings in them, just donations from people. So let's get started. Hopefully the lighting is good. I bought a lot of paperbacks and stuff that I probably wouldn't have bought if it wasn't for the really good price. So not that necessarily everything here falls into that category, but I'll tell you when they come along. Stuff I wouldn't have bought had it not been really cheap. Okay, so I picked up Star Trek 2, these are, and 3, and these books are pretty much like new. I don't know if they've been read. They were 50 cents each, and they adapted from the TV series. So 2 and 3. And then this looked interesting, also excellent condition. It's called Star Trek Quiz Book by Bart Andrews. I certainly probably can't answer these questions because my favorite show is Farscape, and even though I grew up with Star Trek, the original one, I haven't watched it in a long time, and kind of thinking about buying the DVDs now. I'm assuming they're still available on Amazon, because if it's out of print, I'm sure that the price has skyrocketed and I won't be getting them. But it's been a long time since I've seen them. I didn't buy them in the past because I had just seen them so many times. I just didn't need to watch it again. Funny, the only show I really feel about that I can like watch again and again and again, no matter how many times I've seen it, although I don't want to ruin it by watching it too many times, is Farscape. I go through that series. I watch it, take a few months off, watch the whole series again. I just love that show. Okay, Star Trek Lives. This is written by 3 women, and it says what the creators of Star Trek are doing now, their goals and achievements since Star Trek, their plans for Star Trek's return, and just general information about Star Trek, the show. So, 50 cents, excellent condition, look good. Now this was interesting. Someone must have gotten rid of a whole collection of their Star Trek books, and included in them were the following. The from the animated series, the different logs that they had, log 1, log 2. I don't know how many there were, I didn't look it up, but I got all 10 that this person must have given away at one time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all in really nice shape. 5. I watched the animated series earlier in the year, which I did purchase, because those I really don't remember from when I was a kid. So this was 6, and it was okay. Entertainment, not like anything that's going to change your world. Star Trek Log 7, but the books, cool covers and just cool to have. 8. Now the next 2 are from a different reprinting that don't have as interesting covers. So if I ever see those vintage covers I was just showing you, I'll get them. So this is a 9. You can see it's just not as interesting. Definitely, if I could buy more of these, I will. So 9 and 10. And I just noticed the book that I want to get in here for a moment. This I picked up. Most times when I buy books, I don't look to spend a lot on paperbacks. This particular paperback was really nice vintage and like excellent condition, and I won't read it. I have another copy to read, but I just had to get it. It was $15. The High Window by Raymond Chandler. The cover was really nice. Just I don't know how well you could see it on the camera here, but it's really nice and shiny in person, and the book was like immaculate just about. So $15, I just went for it. I don't regret it, because what I'd like to do eventually is a lot of these books that I have that have these nice vintage covers is when I move, have some way to display them. Right now I don't have any room, so everything goes into cartons and gets put away. But eventually I hope to have that nice place. Hope I live to see it and enjoy it. So there you go. Okay, next. Now these are books that, if it was not for the cheap price, I wouldn't have purchased them. They were $1 each. Usually the paperbacks are 50 cents at this place, but they were $1. And these are Star Trek photo novels. So I can't open it up. I put it in a book bag. But basically, it's like what you see on the cover. It's kind of like a comic book, but real screen captures from the show. With what they're saying there. So I got photo novel Sitting on the Edge of Forever, which is number 1. And these are all in, I would say, from 1 to 10, 10 being like excellent. They're all like about a 9 or up. So really cool. Photo novel number 2, Where No Man Has Gone Before. Number 3 wasn't there, unfortunately. I got number 4, A Taste of Armageddon. Unfortunately, now I have to start looking for 3. Hopefully I'll find it for a cheap price. Photo novel number 5. This is Metamorphosis. Number 6, All Our Yesterdays. Number 7, The Galileo 7. I have to look this up on Amazon or on Google and see how many they were. Actually, not Amazon, but Google, and see how many there were in the series. Know what I'm missing. This is The Devil in the Dark. Day of the Dove. Number 10. The last one was number 9. I'm missing number 8, whatever number 8 is. The Deadly Years. Number 11. Kirk is like an old man on the cover of that one. Amok Time. Number 12. And then this was only 50 cents. The photo story of the first Star Trek movie, which, even though it wasn't great, the book was only 50 cents. It's in great shape, and what the hell, 50 cents. I was already in over my head anyway. Okay, next. The Science Fiction Hall of Fame, Volume 2B. The Greatest Science Fiction Novellas of All Time, edited by Ben Bova. So, it's a nice thick book, and it was like an excellent shape. I like short stories, and one day I'll get to read. I think this coming year I have kind of a theme already set up for my reading, which I'll talk about down the line. But I have a theme for the year after, which may include like short stories. So I'll try to get a lot of those short story books in at that time. It's nice to have themes and things to look forward to and little projects you make for yourself. Here, the Great American Detective. This is a compilation including like let's see, Sam Spade, Philip Marlowe, Perry Mason, Ellery Queen, Nero Wolfe, Lou Archer, and other unforgettable heroes. And really nice condition. I looked it up on Amazon, and there were a couple of people that had it for a few dollars, in like okay condition, and then two other people were selling it for like over $100. This book, I got it for 50 cents. Wow, over $100? Are you kidding me? So it was very, very good find. This movie, Cape Fear. Well, I watched the movie not too long ago. I thought it was really pretty good. John D. McDonald, Cape Fear. This is a newer copy of it. It'd be cool to find an old vintage copy. But for 50 cents, maybe one day I'll watch the movie again and read the book and see how they compare. I have so many dreams, and I'll probably never get to half of them. I wanted to live to be 200 and read 300 or forever. Baba Black Sheep. This is my second copy of this book. I think I paid 50 cents for each one. It's in nice condition. Spine's a little bit cracked from reading, but not bad. I have another copy, like I said. I'll see which one's better and save that one and read the other one. I want to read this one soon. Looks kind of interesting. Something different for me. Never read anything like this before, World War II, so I want to get that into my rotation pretty quick. Maybe before the end of the year. Okay, and then I picked up some paperbacks, some more. The Ordeal of Running Standing. This book I read, I don't know if it was sometime in the last 2 years, like somewhere from like a year to 2 years ago. It's an excellent book. Forget the cover. This particular copy could have had a better cover. This is an excellent book. Excellent. I loved it. Excellent. Okay, The Big Sky. I have a lot of these already, but this cover is like the classic cover, and it was in pretty nice shape. 50 cents. I couldn't control myself. Great book. Great. This I have no idea what to think about. Cannonball Kid by Lee Hoffman. It seems to be, from just glancing at the back, kind of like a... let me get the light back on here. Kind of like a book about someone who's supposed to be a legend in the West, but maybe really isn't, but is viewed that way. Kind of a commentary about the West by Lee Hoffman. Not really sure. I looked it up on Google and really didn't find anything on it. I'll have to search some more, but 50 cents, great shape. Why not? Doesn't matter now. Pile them on. More books. Tell Them Willie Boy is here. I have another copy of this book, but I like the cover. So, actually, Robert Blake, was he in jail now? Still in jail? Killing somebody, or allegedly killing somebody? By Harry Lawton, based on a true story. And again, like my other doubles, I'll see which one's better and read the save the best one and read the other one. So there you go. Louis L'Amour, Kiowa Trail. Actually, this book they had last time I was at this store, and it looked like it hadn't been moved or touched. And it's 50 cents, and it was like one of the only other L'Amour books there. So I just said, well, I'll just get it. What's wrong with me? So there you go. Thin, don't want to take up too much space. was this or a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee is more than 50 cents. This is probably better than a cup of coffee. There you go. Okay. Dan O'Brien, the Indian Agent. 50 cents. As you see a theme here, all the paperbacks are pretty much 50 cents except those photo novels were $1. The Star Trek ones. So this is about Dr. Valentine McGillicuddy, who was the doctor on the Suez, was a Pine Ridge Reservation in the 1870s. He was there when Crazy Horse was killed. Was it Pine Ridge? Does it say on the back here? Yeah. Pine Ridge. I was right. Looks interesting. We'll see. Dan O'Brien, the Indian Agent. Then there's just a few more. Maybe 7 or 8. Okay, I'm always looking for W.P. Kinsella when I go out. Oh, time to pause. The phone's ringing. That was my wife. She went out with some friends for lunch, and she let me know she got there safely. Okay, Born Indian W.P. Kinsella. These are what are called his Rez stories, R-E-Z. Of course, the TV series is based on these books very loosely, which was a series called The Rez. And there was a movie called Dance Me Outside, which is the first one that he did of the Rez stories. And this was in great condition. Forget whether this was, I think it was $1, which is really good. It's in like excellent condition. I have 2 of them now. And anytime I see his books, I pick them up. Okay, now this, Sweet Medicine by David Seals. I didn't know anything about this book. I asked my wife to look it up on her phone. And the guy that wrote it, David Seals, wrote a book called Powwow Highway. Again, Powwow Highway, which was made into a movie, which I haven't seen, and kind of sparked my interest getting this. So I looked it up on Amazon, and it's like out of temporarily unavailable. People are selling it for ridiculous prices. So I found the website actually to download it from, which I did. And the condition's okay, and it's good enough just to watch and get an idea about it. And if it's really good, I'll order it through Amazon and wait till it's available again. And if it's not, maybe someday I'll find it for a reasonable price and get the actual DVD. But and I'm also going to buy the book Powwow Highway, which is still available. You could buy that. So anyway, this was in pretty nice shape. Sweet Medicine by David Seals. Contemporary Native American life. This is from the 70s, I think. Probably late 70s. Pretty cool cover. So I thought I'd give this a try. This one I had, Double Cross. It's called Treachery in the Apache Wars. Double Cross, Treachery in the Apache Wars by Leo W. Banks. And basically it's short stories related to, let's see here, mostly the Apaches. Death of Mangus Coloradus, the Winter Campaign, Deceit at Sibicu, Into the Sierra Madre. Just little stories, vignettes of the Apache Wars. So I got that. And this book I have also. It was only $1 and figured it wouldn't hurt to have another copy of it. Saga of Chief Joseph by Helen Addison Howard. It's a bit outdated in terms of the Nez Perce War, but I kind of like the cover and it's cool to have. Nice shape. $1. Chief Joseph on the cover. I couldn't say no. Okay, this book I actually purchased recently in paperback, and I saw it for $1. Was it $1 or $2? Might have been $2 for the hardcover. Isaac Asimov, The Winds of Change, short stories. Got very good reviews on Amazon, and I'll read the paperback. I'm gonna need like a theme year for like science fiction or something. I don't know. Or actually, maybe that could be part of my short story theme year. Let's see. Got another book over here. It's a big one. This is called, this is 2 volumes in one. It's the Hugo Winners, Hugo, edited by Isaac Asimov. So they're like science fiction winning stories. Thick book, volumes 1 and 2. It was in excellent shape. I put the clear broad art jacket on it. So it was a couple of dollars. Good deal. And this book I've actually picked up in hardcover. After not seeing it really ever, at least I wasn't looking for it. Hunter of Worlds by C.J. Cherry. So now I have 2 hardcover and 1 or 2 in softcover. Now I have to read one to see if I should have all those copies. So I'm going to make that my business to read one of the paperbacks, and if I like it, great. I've got some copies of it. If I don't, I'll get rid of them somewhere, maybe sell them on eBay. I haven't sold anything on eBay in a long time, but so that. Now I got 2 more, so just hold on 1 second, and we're back. Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. This book I read with my son either earlier in the year or last year. I've lost track of time, but that was just a regular copy of it. This is lushly illustrated. Lushly. Why does that sound funny all of a sudden? Well, anyway, it's a lot of illustrations, sidebars, information that explains more about the text, like a lot of terms he used that you may not be familiar with if you're not familiar with pirates and being names of parts of a ship and so forth. So this book explains a lot of details, and it's a good story. So I've been looking for this for a long time, could never find it. One time I found a copy, but it was messed up, and I don't want to buy it online. I just couldn't find anyone selling it that interested me, either price or condition. So I think this was $2, and it was in like really great shape. So I was happy. I couldn't believe it was on the shelf. I was like, oh my god, I've been looking for that. And then I got one more. This is like a big coffee table book called Legendary Westerns by Peter Guttmacher or Matcher. Sounds like a German name. And it's, again, a big coffee table book. Let's see if I can find something interesting in here. I'm boring you as I look at the book. Okay, so here, there's like Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid on the right-hand side. There was a nice picture in here from Lausanne's Raid with Burt Lancaster and the Apache Scout. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Maybe I'll get lucky and hit that page. Come on, where are you? I'm sorry. I kept finding it yesterday. Every time I opened up the book, there it was. Oh, here we go. So from Lausanne's Raid. And it just looks really interesting. It's a Legendary Westerns. Had the dust jacket. It's in great shape. Good deal. I think it was $2. So those are the books for this particular video. Let's see what I get by. I don't think this might be the end of the book buying, except if I pick up something local. So next video will be the movies that I watched and any late books that I purchased and what books I read for the month. So until then, take care. Have a great day. It's Monday, September 26th, and I just wanted to show a few books real quick that I purchased today. I go to a bookstore a lot during lunchtime where I work, and they have racks outside with less expensive books, usually like paperbacks about 50 cents. Other books are $1, $2, $3. So today, first I'll go in sequence of what I found. Lewis and Clark Journals, Volumes 1 and 2, edited by Nicholas Biddle, introduction by John Bakeless, and these were $2 each. They were just sitting outside. I couldn't believe it. I was walking by and I was like, holy crap, is that what I think it is? Lewis and Clark Journals, and there's some nice pictures in here. Let me see if I can find, there's another one. So 2 volumes, great condition, and they were just $2 each, just sitting out there. I got there just in time, I guess, because I don't know how long they've been sitting out there. I go like pretty much every day. And then I picked up this for $1, The Sun by Philip Meyer. And I was just flipping through it. It looked pretty good. It's in great shape. Just the spine is a little bit, a little bit worn, but not bad. I mean, it's great for reading copy. And if I like it, I'll look for a nice hardcover someday. So for $1, certainly excellent shape for a reading copy. So that was it for today. $5 this cost me right here plus tax. So good finds. Good day for book searching. Talk to you later. This will be my last installment for September 2016. I started this at the end of February 2016. So this is doing one video a month. So this is my 8th video. There was just a little pause there for a second if you noticed it. So I've done several installments for this month, which I'll put together into one video. It's just easier for me to work that way. So again, this is Countdown to Retirement, kind of like a monthly video journal for me as I count down to retirement in June 2019 or sooner. Maybe I win the lottery, although I don't really play it, so got to be in it to win it, right? So anyway, I go over what books I've purchased, what books I've read, what movies I watched, basically just how I entertain myself. No one really watches. I have one friend who watches sometimes, not religiously, which is the wrong term to use because neither of us are religious. But anyway, I have no audience. I do this for myself. And maybe my great-grandkids will watch it one day. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm going to go over... I'll start with... This is the latest books I purchased in like the last week. I did prior book purchases earlier in the video. Earlier installments. So let me go over what I've picked up the last few days. 1 second here. Okay, so this I just found yesterday for $2. It was outside like in a bargain bin. The American Heritage Pictorial Atlas. And this looks pretty cool. It's from 1966, the year I was born. There's all kinds of maps and text. There's like the American frontier, the Civil War, the World Wars 1 and 2, Louisiana Purchase kind of stuff, and just the westward expansion. Where is that? So for $2, and it was in great shape with the dust jacket. That was a steal. And then I mentioned not being religious before, so I just picked up The Illusion of God's Presence by, it's subtitled The Biological Origins of Spiritual Longing by John C. Wathy. And I didn't know about this book. I was watching a YouTube video and the author was being interviewed. Sounded interesting. I looked it up on Amazon, checked out the chapter titles. They look good. So I'm looking forward to reading this. So much to read. I just don't know how to get it all done, but I'm working on it. Once I hit retirement, I'll be able to read a few more books a year than what I do now. Hopefully I could like top 50 a year. But being that I buy like a few hundred every year, I'm behind. It's impossible, but I do want to read that. Okay, so this morning I finished Red Crow's Brother. This is by James Willard Schultz. Lived with the Blackfeet Indians in the late 1800s. This is about a white man who lives with the Indians. Actually, it's like a late teens, early 20s, a guy named Hugh Monroe. This is the second book about him. The first one was called Rising Wolf, about his first year living with the Blackfeet. And this is his second year living with the Blackfeet. It's kind of written for young adults, but it's interesting. It's a bit of a novel, although it's supposed to be about Hugh Monroe, how accurate it is and how well his memory was when he gave the story to Schultz, and how accurately Schultz wrote it down, because he was known to not be too accurate in some details, although he was a great storyteller. What he put down on paper, if he put down the wrong year for something, even if it was like obviously known, he just left it. It was just kind of weird like that. I don't know why, but he was a good storyteller. I wish I could have met him. That would have been really nice. He had a son who was a little bit of a well-known artist. His name escapes me at the moment, but he had a son right on the tip of my tongue. I could like see it in my head, and I just can't think of the words. But anyway, he was married to a Blackfoot woman. She died probably I'm not exactly sure, in the early 1900s, and Schultz went on to like live in Arizona and maybe even California. Came back to the Blackfeet Reservation once in a while. He had some trouble there. I think he was like even back then they had laws about with the forest rangers with the killing of the animals, and I think he broke some laws, and he had a vamoose, although they might have forgiven him for it. It's been a while since I read about him. Let me see here. So then I also, now this I don't know if it was in my last month's video, Okla Hanale by R.A. Lafferty. I finished this early in the month, like first week of the month. So I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video. This is a novel about a Choctaw Indian. It's pretty good. It's a little bit, I don't like the idea that the main character kind of was like a Christian Indian. Which seemed, because Lafferty was believed like in religion, and I think he kind of just like gave the Indian the religion, because that's like, I don't even know what I'm saying here. I just felt like he conveyed his own beliefs onto the Indian, and they didn't let the Indian just stay true to Indian beliefs. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but having him be a Christian Indian, and I just never really understood why. Just that kind of just killed it for me. But it wasn't a bad book. I mean, if you're religious and you're in Christianity, you'll love it. I didn't, but it was good. 3 out of 5 stars maybe. Let's see here. This was a pretty good book. 6 Horse Hitch. Janice Holt Giles. She wrote several historical novels. This is part of a series with the Fowler family, Fowler, and this was a pretty good book. Sometimes it was went off track a little bit. She would get a little bit into the history of the times, which wasn't really the main story, and she got a little bit too far with it sometimes. Like one chapter she did about Sand Creek, and it just was like kind of not really part of the main story here, so there was no reason to go off on it for a while. She gives a lot of details about driving a stagecoach. I thought that was interesting, and I learned. I thought it was a good novel, but it could have been a little bit shorter if she had tightened it up a little bit. But I think she's a very good author. I really do like her writing. Johnny Osage was a great book. I've read that twice. Some other books she has, very good. The Great Adventure, one of them, about mountain men, and this is it's all part of the same series with the Fowler family. So I'd recommend it. This was a very good book. Shoot an Arrow to Stop the Wind, and this is by Colin Stewart, which is not his real name. His real name is, I looked this up, Clark Spurlock, and he was apparently part Blackfoot Indian. And this is a little bit autobiographical, but to what degree is unknown. But it is based on some personal experience, it would seem. The cover really doesn't represent the book to me. It looks like a half-breed Indian man maybe, and an Indian woman, but the characters on the book cover don't really look like the characters as I would see them as they're described in the book, especially the guy, Colin Stewart. If that's supposed to be Colin Stewart, I wasn't feeling it from what I read in the book. he was in the book. He's mostly white, which is a little bit of Blackfoot blood, and this looks like someone who's half or more Blackfoot to me. But it is a cool cover anyway. So this takes place in the early 1900s. It's about a part Blackfoot boy whose family lives in, I think, Washington, and he spends the summer with family in Montana, on and near the Blackfoot Reservation. And it's kind of like his summer adventure. And it was very good. I liked it. The author also wrote a book called Walks for a Woman, which was a movie with Raquel Welch, which I would love to get the book. The book goes for some stupid prices on the internet. I'll find it eventually, for less. But same author, Colin Stewart. I would recommend this book. I thought it was good. Some memorable characters and worth your time. At least I don't feel like I wasted my time. I am currently reading, not finished yet, this is really different for me, Baba Black Sheep by Gregory Peppy Boyington. Peppy being in quotes. I'm about a third of the way into it, so I'll finish it in time for the next video. You might be familiar with the TV series, the short-lived TV series. Robert Conrad played Boyington. It's loosely based on this, from what I could tell. I don't know. They took the show like in a little bit different from what the book is, different direction. I don't really know what to expect yet. I know he gets captured by the Japanese. So I'm not sure how much of the book that takes up. Right now, America has kind of entered World War II, and he's going to be joining the Marines. I'm learning a little bit about history, even though he's not really explaining history as he goes on. He's just telling his part in it. You can kind of put things together. So, for instance, one thing that I learned is that at the beginning of World War II, before the United States was in the war, there were American volunteers, pilots, going over to China, apparently to fly fighter planes and protect the China against the Japanese who were bombing certain areas of China. So he was involved in that. He was a volunteer, and then he gets I guess that was like disbanded, and he's like pushed into the Marines, which I think he was in some branch of the service, and as a pilot, might have been the Marines. I think he gets back into the Marines when the volunteer thing ended. And so it's interesting. I'm sure he doesn't give the whole story, all the gory details of things, but it's something different for me to read. Okay, that's it on the book front for the month of September. Now I'm going to go over movies that I watched. This is a very self-conscious thing to do. I mean, like, I'm babbling at some points and losing my train of thought. I'm not pausing it. I'm just going to keep going. Just keep going. I'm the only one watching anyway. Okay, so this was a very good movie, The Long Goodbye with Elliot Gould. I really like this movie. This much better than I expected it to be. Arnold Schwarzenegger has a small role in here, just for like a few minutes, and he doesn't talk. There's no talking. I guess maybe they heard him speak with that strong accent, and they said, no, just be muscular. just try to look good. But I thought Elliot Gould was really good. I thought it was a good movie. Kind of forget Philip. It's based on Raymond Chandler's story with Philip Marlowe character. Just kind of forget that and just watch it just for the movie, and don't worry about the history of Philip Marlowe and Chandler and those books, and just watch the movie. Just think of as its own entity, and it's really good. I thought so. Okay, this is a disc with 4 movies, all Thin Man movies, and the one that I watched for this month was Another Thin Man, which is the one, I think it was at the end of the Thin Man, was this one over here. They're all good movies, entertaining. I don't remember like too many details anymore, but it was good. I don't remember disliking it. I remember liking it. So I like what's his name? The guy that I'm blank. What's his name? What's his name? William Powell. There it is. He's good. I enjoy him. The Brash of Doubloon. I have a little note on there for myself. But this has George Montgomery and Nancy Guild. This was a good movie. It's kind of like not like a. This wasn't like $1 million project for them back then. This was kind of like a B movie, but it was entertaining. I liked it, and the reason why I have a note on here is there's a little problem with the DVD. There's like a little buzzing sound while it plays. I gotta get a better copy. With the Brash of Doubloon, again based on a Raymond Chandler story, and I thought it was good. This I really liked. I discovered it by accident. 5 Miles to Midnight. Anthony Perkins and Sophia Loren. Perkins was a weird guy in real life, and he's weird in the movie. He's good. He's psychopathic, like in the movie Psycho. That's just the kind of guy he's good at playing, I guess. And this was a really good movie. 5 Miles to Midnight takes place in France. He's an American in France, and I won't say much more. But if you want to be entertained for however long, an hour and a half, 2 hours, watch it. And it's got Sophia Loren. This I just watched the other night. Roadhouse. Ida Lupino, Celeste Holm, Cornel Wilde, and Richard Widmark. This was a good movie. It takes place in the United States up near Canada. It's a little bit unclear where, like maybe Washington. I think it's Washington State is probably what it must be. And it's like near the Canadian border. And it was interesting. I thought it was a good movie. Didn't blow me away, but it was good. I'd watch it again. And there's some I think there were extras on. Yeah, there's an audio commentary on here, and there was even a special called Killer Instincts, which I liked. Gives you background, makes you appreciate the movie more. But I thought it was a good movie. I would recommend it. And a few more. Okay, High Anxiety with Mel Brooks and Harvey Korman and Cloris Leachman. This movie I had higher expectations for. To play on words. Wasn't bad, but it just didn't have. It wasn't enough. The script was only so good. It's only so far that the actors could take this movie. But having said that, Cloris Leachman and Harvey Korman were great. They were very good, especially Cloris Leachman. She just nailed the part. She's this creepy woman, and she was great. And she's an atheist like me. That's not why I love her part, though. I didn't even know. I actually just looked her up a few minutes ago and saw that she was an atheist, and I didn't know previous. But she was, and her part was great. So High Anxiety, mixed bag, some funny parts, silly parts. If you got some time to kill and you like Mel Brooks, give it a try if you haven't seen it. But don't expect to be blown away. Okay, now I purchased a lot of Mike Shane books, detective novels by Brett Halliday, which is a pen name. So I got interested. I didn't read any of them yet, but I kind of just was interested in when I learned that there was some movies based on that character to get them, and so I picked up a few, and I'll go over those in a second. The movies are different from the book in that the Shane character, I think in the books he's in Florida, and he's not in Florida in the movies. I think he was in New York for some, and maybe even in California for some of them. So Mike Shane, these are 4 movies in this one here, and I liked them all. They were all good. Nothing was a clunker. They were all a little over an hour, and so there's no filler. I mean, it's just like, everything's moving. The pace is good, and so there's no filler on here, in my opinion, because they aren't that long. So recommended 4 movies was a pretty good price. And then a separate movie that I picked up just off Broadway, and this I just watched the other night, and I thought this was a good movie. Same characters, Mike Shane character, Lloyd Nolan plays him. He plays him in all of these. So I think these are all good. In real life, Nolan, I look to. I like to. It's a mistake. I like to look at people when I watch a movie and learn about them a little bit. That could be a mistake because you could find somebody whose political leanings and religious beliefs just don't align with yours. Depending on how I'm feeling about it and how far I feel they went with their beliefs and so forth, I may not be able to watch them anymore, or just avoid them entirely if I haven't seen anything by them yet. I don't do that all the time, but there are times I do. I mean, I would never watch a movie with, what's that guy's name? Mel. You know what I'm talking about. I can't think of his last name. Blank. Mel. Not Mel Brooks. The other Mel. Why am I blank? Let me pause this and get his name. Mel Gibson. I just looked it up. I mean, I don't like that guy. The mother from was it Patricia Heaton from Everybody Loves Raymond? I can't watch that show anymore. I mean, her religious beliefs and political stance and so forth, I just can't take it. And a show of mine that used to be a favorite. I loved this show, Northern Exposure. Used to watch that show religiously, and some of the characters on there, I'm not even going to mention names, just born again Christians and stuff. I can't take that stuff. I mean, we're in a day and age where you just can't go around believing that anymore. It's done. It's done. There was a time when it was needed. There was a time when people just didn't know any better, and that was the best that we had. It's become so entrenched in society, and even though we've got better now, we know that these stories are just stories. This God is not real. This God of the Bible, the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, you're wrong. These are made up stories. Get over it. It's a big topic, and I'm not going to cover it all here, but I have a hard time respecting some people when they're just so backwards. I mean, you could say you were brought up that way, you're raised that way, and I believe that's a real big problem. But if you're raised with 2 + 2 is 5, and you go to school, you learn it's not, and you see everybody around you knows that it's not. If it was true, if it was 5, planes would fall out of the sky, the computer wouldn't work, the building you live in, a house would fall down. I mean, the whole number system would be a mess. So the evidence shows that how we're the 2 + 2 is 4, or everything would just be wrong. I mean, evolution is true. The Earth is not 6,000 years old, and there's deeper things to talk about in space and time, and I'm not going to get into it right now. Maybe some video I'll put down all my thoughts logically and go over them. I don't know. That really wasn't something I was going to do with these videos, but maybe after retirement or just 1 month I feel like doing it. We'll see. So that's it for this month. That's the end of September. Today is actually October 1st. So now we start a new month of books and movies. Well, I have to finish up Black Sheep. So until next time, read a science book. Watch a good movie. Reality. It's good. Bye-bye. So I just ended the video and I realized that I didn't finish my story about Lloyd Nolan. Now let me just first preface this by saying that I like the Mike Shane movies, and I did say that, and I think Lloyd Nolan was very good in those movies. I was a bit disappointed to look him up on Google and find that he was pro public school prayer, which this was the early 1960s, and it was voted down. It says here, the Supreme Court struck down the practice as in conflict with the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. I don't know how he felt throughout his whole life about this. I don't really know anything else about his religious beliefs. But public school prayer, uh, if you're a student and you want to pray in your own mind, or during lunch, go somewhere and pray, whatever, go ahead. You want to pray before you get a test, oh God, please let me pass this math test, fine, I don't care. But like, if it's like set aside time by the school for people to do that, I just don't see that. I mean, I don't really know even too much about what this public school prayer is, and you read about it, but just, you're praying to no one. But even if you think you are, or if it just makes you feel good, fine, but just do it on your time. Don't do it in public school time. That's just wrong. That's how I feel. Now, this is the end of the video. See you next month. Bye.